Greetings, everybody, and welcome to what is the first episode of a new little discussion series for this channel called The Discussion Board. You can thank various schools and colleges for this idea for a name. So for this one, I decided to kick this off with something more recent: the release of Sindel in this in the combat from the combat pack. So there's been a lot of negative reception. Most common being this idea that she was this good character that was ruined and all that. And there was even some comments that point, or there's even some people that refer to her sort of redemption arc, as they would call it, in Deception, where where she's one of the good guys. And so, I guess today what I want to talk about what I want to do is sort of ask the question: was Sindel really a good character? If we take off the rose-tinted spectacles and put things under a microscope and really look at it, was she actually that good a character? Now, I question this because for two reasons. One, obviously we live in a time where, obviously when something negative happens, it generates a lot of attention. And there's almost this perverse hunger for negativity. It's almost like people beg for it. And it's the only thing they crave. Because if you'll notice, the good stuff kind of rarely gets anywhere near the attention or praise that the negative stuff does. So, upon that basis, that's where I question this. Because once we get past that, we then get to the second part, which is how good of a character was Sindel actually. Now, obviously, we look back at Mortal Kombat 3. Now, here's the problem where the so-called redemption arc happens. We get no idea that this even happened. We just know there was Sindel in that one game, and then 4 and 5, nothing. And then suddenly Deception comes along and, oh wait, she's a good person? What happened? And that's kind of the problem here. I sort of feel like Sindel is yet another one of these characters that suffered being poorly developed in what's often referred to as the 3D era for Mortal Kombat, obviously. Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon. Because Deception, I wouldn't even call that a redemption arc. I feel like this was just thrown in there because, well, let's make her a good person. And I don't get why. We didn't even get to see the full extent of her as an evil person. Because all we got was, some side-scrolling 2D, story text that you usually got from an arcade game. We never even got enough of that to really even appreciate, good guy Sindel, as should say. So, I'm not sure I would call that good. In fact, I'd almost question what was so good about Sindel that this whole retcon is considered, ruining her character or ruining Sindel. I really do feel like this ruining a reaction that everybody has, I feel like it's all bias, it's all rose-tinted spectacles, if I could talk. Because really, what is all the redeeming qualities? Mortal Kombat 3 is probably the one game where I would consider her character-wise, decent. But I feel like, that portion of her story wasn't even well established enough. That wasn't even fully fleshed out to even warrant such a change. So for me, at least for me personally, I don't see where there was any good for this. If anything, I see yet another, not so well developed character that had that happen. And in Mortal Kombat 9, we went back to Sindel when she was pretty much on the side of the bad guys. I feel like that was probably the best that her villainous side got fleshed out. And I almost feel like Shao Kahn giving her Shang Tsung's power and her going on this complete, absolute wrecking spree with the other characters, that was perfect. That was excellent. We finally got that fleshed out. But that was it. that was about as good as she got. And that's in one game. Once again, one game where there was any good done to her. And then after that, oh hey, she died. She's a revenant now. So goodbye, storyline stuff. So again, there was not even enough story for there to warrant any good about her, so to speak. And here's some examples where I talk about good character development, or at least what I would consider good character development. So we look at Johnny Cage, and I probably am not the only person that brought this up, but look at how Johnny Cage got developed from just being the same cocky dude he's always ever been. We go from that, we go to Mortal Kombat X, to where he's pretty much a loving, dedicated father completely, to the point where he even it goes straight up in Sonya's face about how she pretty much isn't keeping up her end of being a great parent. And then in MK11, while I haven't seen the story itself, it looks like it's more of the same, to the point where he even absolutely is annoyed with his past self. That's an example of progression and character development. You see the progression. You see where it's going. You didn't see any of this from bad person to good person progression with Sindel. So where was all this good of her character? And so again, I ask, was Sindel really a good character? I honestly am not so sure she was. I feel like all this negative reaction is rose-tinted spectacles. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this. What do you think? Do you agree with me that Sindel wasn't that great a character and that this was simply just some silly decision to do something else? Or are you truly convinced that she was that good of a character? I certainly would like to hear why you would think so. And hopefully you don't do it with the same sort of rose-tinted spectacles everybody else does. So anyway, that's it for this one. If you like these sort of discussion videos, and if you like this one in particular, please do give this one a like. And if you like these, then feel free to subscribe, as there will be more of these, depending on how many people watch these. And don't forget to tick that bell icon when you do subscribe, because I will let you know when I put up the next video. So that's it for me, and I will see you guys next time.